Imagine finding a plain-looking dollar in your pocket change. We're diving deep into the top 3 most valuable Susan B. Anthony dollars ever discovered. Could be worth hundreds, thousands, or even millions of dollars. These coins are ultra-rare treasures that collectors. These coins have shocked jaw-dropping auction prices. The 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar. Imagine for a moment you're holding a small coin in your hand, just over 26 millimeters across, clad in copper nickel, weighing a little more than 8 grams. To most people, it looks like just another dollar coin, the kind that confused shoppers and vending machines back in the late 70s. But then you look closer, the mint mark catches your eye, San Francisco. Suddenly, this coin isn't ordinary. It's something much more, something that could change your entire collecting journey. And special varieties is one of the most valuable treasures you can hope to find. We are not talking about a few $100s. The Susan B. Anthony dollar was first minted in 1979, and the San Francisco Mint, known for its proof coinage, played a crucial role. For decades, the San Francisco Mint specialized in proof coins struck with special care and polished dies for collectors rather than circulation. In 1979, millions of proof sets were produced containing the new Susan B. Anthony dollar. But in the process, the mint made a mistake, one that would eventually give birth to one of the most legendary error coins in modern American numismatics. The mistake wasn't a dramatic off-center strike or a double strike. It was something far more subtle, and because of that, far more powerful. It was a problem with the mint mark itself. The discovery of this error created shockwaves in the coin world. Collectors scrambled to check their 1979 proof sets. Dealers began advertising the major rarity, and prices began climbing. What had once been a simple proof coin in a government-issued set suddenly became a ticket to fortune. Today, a 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar with the clear mint mark in perfect condition is among the most valuable coins of its generation, with values climbing past $10,000, $20,000, and, in rare error varieties and pristine grades, into the staggering range, $40,000. But the story doesn't stop with the mint mark. Because while the mint mark is the centerpiece of the 1979's rarity, there are also dramatic striking errors that elevate its value even further. Proof coins were supposed to be perfect, carefully struck for collectors. That means mistakes were supposed to be impossible, and yet, they happened. A few proof 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollars left the mint with double dies, off-center strikes, or other dramatic flaws. These coins are the ultimate paradox and error on a coin that was supposed to have no errors at all. And when they surface, collectors pay unbelievable sums to own them. Combine a scarce mint mark with a dramatic strike error, and suddenly you're in the range of $50,000, $59,000, even $65,000 for a single coin. Auction records confirm the staggering values. Collectors have bid fiercely for high-grade 1979 dollars, with perfect PR70 deep cameo examples setting record after record. Prices climb higher every year as fewer flawless examples remain on the market and demand continues to grow. Add an error, and the coin becomes a once-in-a-lifetime trophy piece. At major auction houses, the bidding is electric. Collectors know they may never see another example, so they push the price higher and higher until the hammer falls at numbers like $59,000 or $65,000. For a coin that the general public dismissed as unpopular, the transformation is nothing short of remarkable. For collectors, the thrill lies in the search. Every 1979's proof set is a mystery box. Could it contain a type to mint mark? Could it contain a double die? Could it contain the once-in-a-lifetime combination that transforms a $20 set into a $50,000 treasure? That possibility keeps the hunt alive. Collectors open proof sets, examine coins under magnification, trade stories online, and dream of being the next one to uncover a rarity that makes headlines. This is a 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar error, one of the most astonishing and valuable pieces to ever leave the Philadelphia Mint. You're going through a handful of old coins, the kind you might find tucked away in a drawer, sitting in a coin jar, or resting at the bottom of a box from decades ago. Most of the coins look ordinary, but then you see something different, a dollar coin that doesn't quite match what you expected. At first glance, it looks like the forgotten small-size dollar from the late 70s. The one so many people ignored and confused with a quarter. But then, you take a closer look, and suddenly your heart races. This isn't just another coin. When the Susan B. Anthony dollar was first introduced in 1979, it was supposed to be the answer to a problem. The Eisenhower dollar, big and heavy, had failed to win the public's affection. The US Mint wanted a smaller, lighter dollar coin that would circulate widely, reduce the reliance on paper bills, and become a staple of American commerce. To mark this historic shift, the Mint chose Susan B. Anthony, the legendary suffragist, as the face of the new coin. This was no small decision. It marked the very first time a real woman, not a mythological figure, was honored on a circulating US coin. And yet, despite the groundbreaking choice, the coin quickly ran into trouble. It was almost the same size and color as a quarter. Vending machines rejected it. The public didn't want it. By 1981, production had been shut down, and the Susan B. Anthony dollar seemed destined to be remembered only as a failure. Off-center errors are another spectacular variety. Picture Susan B. Anthony's profile pushed entirely to one side, with a crescent of blank planchet showing along the edge. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more collectors are willing to pay. A small shift might not bring much, but when the strike is 30%, 50%, or more off-center and still shows a full date, the value skyrockets. In the case of a 1979 P wide rim off-center error, the results can be breathtaking. These are the kinds of coins that transform from pocket change into five-figure treasures, with high-grade examples climbing into that magical $30,000 to $37,000 range. And then, there are wrong planchet errors. These are the true freak accidents of the mint. Sometimes, a planchet intended for another coin accidentally slips into the press. In 1979, there are known cases where the Susan B. Anthony design was struck on a planchet intended for a smaller denomination, like a quarter, or even a foreign coin. These wrong planchet errors create coins that are lighter, smaller, or a different metal composition altogether. They look wrong immediately, but that wrongness is what makes them so valuable. Collectors know they shouldn't exist, yet they do. A 1979 piece struck on the wrong planchet can easily top $30,000, and in pristine condition, they have broken records, fetching prices near $40,000. One of the greatest thrills in coin collecting is the chance discovery. Imagine finding one of these coins in an old roll, a bank bag, or tucked away in a family keepsake. To most people, it looks like just another Susan B. Anthony dollar, but to the sharp-eyed collector, the difference is clear. That subtle wide rim, that slight doubling, that dramatic off-center strike, these details can mean the difference between $1 and $37,000. And that possibility keeps collectors searching, always hoping that the next coin they examine will be the jackpot. Auction results tell the story best. Collectors have paid enormous sums for spectacular 1979 P Susan B. Anthony dollar errors. Wide rim varieties in high mint state grades regularly bring thousands on their own. Add a dramatic mint error, and you're suddenly talking about sales in the tens of thousands. The combination of rarity, demand, and uniqueness is what drives prices to $30,000, $37,000, or even $40,000. Every time one of these coins appears on the market, it becomes an event, drawing attention from collectors around the world. This is the story of the 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar, a small piece of copper nickel with a history of controversy, a short-lived run, and a collector's market that turned a once misunderstood coin into a hidden treasure worth a fortune. Imagine holding an ordinary-looking dollar coin in your hand, one that millions of Americans used every day in vending machines, bank transactions, and grocery stores. And suddenly realizing that what you have isn't ordinary at all. It's one of the rarest error coins in modern U.S. history. A coin so rare, when the United States Mint introduced the Susan B. Anthony dollar in 1979, it was meant to be revolutionary. America hadn't had a small-sized dollar coin before, and the Mint was eager to replace the large Eisenhower dollars with something more compact, efficient, and modern. They wanted a coin that could circulate easily, fit in cash registers and vending machines, and reduce the need for paper $1 bills. To honor Susan B. Anthony, a fearless leader in the women's suffrage movement, the Mint placed her portrait on the obverse, making it the first U.S. circulating coin to feature a real woman rather than an allegorical figure. But despite these historic intentions, the coin quickly ran into a major problem. Its size, color, and shape were nearly identical to the Washington quarter, and the public rejected it almost immediately, instead of being celebrated. It became one of the least popular coins in U.S. history. Millions sat unused in bank vaults, and within a few years, production was halted. One of the most sought-after 1979 D error varieties involves dramatic misstrikes. Imagine a coin that was fed into the press improperly, causing Susan B. Anthony's portrait to be off-center, with wide blank crescent-shaped areas around the rim. To the untrained eye, it might look defective, but to collectors, this is the kind of defect that adds value, not subtracts it. An off-center strike of 20% or more on a 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar can easily bring thousands, and the more dramatic the misalignment, the higher the price climbs. Perfectly centered coins were common, while the off-center ones were virtually unheard of. That rarity drives prices into the $9,000 to $17,000 range when preserved in high grades. Then there are wrong planchet errors, where a coin is struck on a blank intended for another denomination. In the Denver Mint in 1979, mistakes occasionally occurred where blanks for quarters, nickels, or even foreign coins found their way into the presses. When a Susan B. Anthony dollar design was struck on a quarter-sized planchet, the result was a smaller, lighter coin that shouldn't exist. Collectors go wild for these wrong planchet strikes, especially if the error is dramatic and obvious. The values here can exceed $10,000, sometimes more, because they combine rarity with undeniable eye appeal. What makes the story even more compelling is how overlooked this coin was for decades. Collectors in the 1980s and 1990s weren't clamoring for Susan B. Anthony dollars. They wanted Morgan dollars, Peace dollars, and classic silver issues. That meant many of the rare errors sat quietly in collections, or even in circulation, passed over by people who assumed they were just another unpopular coin. Only in recent years, as error collecting exploded in popularity, did the spotlight finally shine on the hidden gems of the 1979 D series. Auction records began to climb, stories spread across coin forums, and suddenly, the same coin that was once ridiculed for its resemblance to a quarter became a prized possession worth more than a brand new car. Picture this: you're at a flea market, flipping through a bin of old coins. Among the wheat pennies, buffalo nickels, and common Eisenhower dollars, you see a Susan B. Anthony dollar with a D mint mark. At first, you almost pass it over, remembering how people never liked these coins. But then you notice something strange. Maybe the strike is off-center. Maybe the rim is missing part of its design. Maybe the D mint mark looks doubled. You pick it up, and with a bit of research, you realize you're holding a treasure that could bring $9,000, $17,000, or even $25,000 at auction. Stories like this have happened to ordinary people, and that's why the 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar remains one of the most exciting coins.